financial advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And good evening, Hampton Roads. Welcome to another edition of Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm your host, certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, coming to you live like I do every second and fourth Tuesday of the month to dialogue with you, take your calls. If you have a question or comment relating to your own personal financial situation or anything I'm talking about here tonight, jump on the phone lines. Give me a call, 627-7979. All we need is your first name, city you're calling from, and no matter what I'm talking about, if it's important to you, then it's important to me. We'll get you right on air. 627-7979. Wealthway Financial Advisors is the proud sponsor of Dollars and Common Sense. We are an independent registered investment advisor, which means we're legally held to a fiduciary standard to put our clients' interests ahead of our own in any business dealing or recommendation that we make, and that's the way it should be when you work with a financial advisor. As the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, we integrate expert investment management with customized ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. So by design, we can't work with everyone. We work with a relatively small group of high net worth individuals, but that's one of the reasons we feel so strongly about coming here every second and fourth Tuesday at 6 p.m., and that's to reach out and help as many people in the Hampton Roads listening area that we can achieve your measure of financial success. Because it is a core belief at Wealthway Advisors that the overwhelming majority of people in this country have the opportunity for financial security if they choose it. And it is a choice because it takes some time, it takes some effort, and it takes some knowledge. We are here to help. You got to take that first step, though. Pick up the phone. Give me a call, 627-7979. Whether you want to talk about anything having to do with the investment markets, the economy, insurance products like life insurance, health insurance, property casualty, taxes, tax planning, tax reduction strategies, retirement planning, retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, IRAs, Roth IRAs, mortgage options, Social Security claiming strategies, or estate planning, wills and trusts, all that and more falls under the umbrella of personal finance. We are here to discuss tonight. All right, tonight's show, first in a two-part series. Tonight we're going to talk about one of the biggest impediments that hold people back from financial security. And then the next show, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to talk about the other side of the coin, how to effectively enjoy the wealth that you have accumulated throughout your lifetime. But tonight, we're going to talk about the things that hold people back from even achieving financial security in the first place. So it's my very unofficial opinion. I have no studies to back this up. I cannot prove it. But through professional experience, it's my belief that approximately 80% of Americans have the opportunity for financial security and or financial independence, and they're not the same thing, but at least financial security, if not financial independence. I believe that 80% of the U.S. population has that realistic opportunity to be in a financially strong position. Yet, it's also my belief that only about 20% of the population ever achieves it. And what do we attribute that imbalance to? 80% of the people, I think, can achieve it, but only about 20% of the population really does achieve financial security. So tonight we're going to talk about keeping up with the Joneses, essentially. And that is another way, a more colloquial way of saying the cost of lifestyle inflation, which I believe is one of the biggest impediments to people achieving that financial security. We're all subject to it. It's part of human nature that the more we make, the more we kind of want to spend. And to a certain degree, that's good and healthy and motivating and causes us to strive and achieve for more in a responsible fashion, hopefully. But I believe most people take it too far. They don't take advantage of opportunities throughout their lifetime to capture enough of the income that they earn, and they end up spending too much of it frivolously, and it sort of just runs through their fingers. And then the 20s turn into the 30s, turn into the 40s, and they wake up mid-50s and say, oh, I think I got to start preparing for this thing called retirement. Well, it's never too late, but it sure is a lot harder when you try to start in your mid to late 50s than if you start into your early to mid 20s. So we're going to talk about the cost of lifestyle inflation. And this is one of the things that I'm fairly passionate about because it's the thing that drew me into the financial advisory profession. I started my career out of college in banking, and one of my early first jobs in banking after management trainee was assistant branch manager, and at the institution I worked at, the primary role of the assistant branch manager was to basically be the in-house loan officer. And so as a loan officer, you really get to see behind everyone's financial curtain, right? There is no place to hide when you apply for a loan. Certainly, even the 30 years ago when I was doing this, but ever since then, with the advent of commercially viable credit reports, where most all of our financial information is housed by credit bureaus and accessible to banks and credit card companies and car loan companies. Anyone in the business of lending credit can see exactly who we owe and how well we have paid them back. In addition, we also, in getting credit, in reviewing loan applications, part of that process is to verify people's income. So it's just not enough to put down a number how much you make. No, we got pay stubs back then, and we get tax returns if necessary. And so we get the real hard numbers. So it's really hard to fool the loan officer from a financial perspective. And one of the things that stood out to me early in my career was the dichotomy between people who didn't necessarily make a lot of money, but had a decent amount of savings and pretty much typically low debt. And the converse was true. People who at the time I thought made a lot of money often didn't have much money and in fact had a fair amount of debt that they were trying to get out. So how could this be? The people who seemed to make the least kind of had the most, and those who were making the most had the least. How do you explain that? How does that make any sense? And I thought, at the time, like, boy, it wouldn't be great if there was a profession that could kind of teach people how to be good with money so that even if you don't make a lot, you could be financially secure and stable. Well, lo and behold, I eventually found the certified financial planner occupation, the study course, and I started doing that, and then eventually migrated my way from banking into the financial advisory world. So this is a big part of what I am passionate about, what drew me into the profession. It's basically people's behavior towards and around money that really determines whether they are financially secure or not. It's not necessarily how much you make. In fact, a lot of times it's not how much people make. And we have this perception that just because you make a lot of money, you have a lot of money. No, people who make a lot of money can spend even more than they make. There's no limit to the amount of money you can spend other than what you make. But even there, you can go out and get credit, and very easy credit. And you can easily spend in America far in excess of the income that you earn. And so it comes down to, a lot of it comes down to behaviors and what you prioritize and what's important to you. So for those 20 percenters that want financial security, we're going to talk about the cost of lifestyle inflation and the things you can do to help guard against inflating your lifestyle faster than your income inflates over time. So here's sort of an example of how it works in practice. So let's say you got a couple earning about $75,000 a year, and they're saving 15% of their income, which is great and is really hard to do when you only make household income is only $75,000, but it's pretty consistent with maybe starting salaries nowadays. You save 15%. Well, that's $11,250. Okay. Then time goes along, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Maybe household income doubles through raises and promotions and so forth, but they're still saving the same dollar amount that they were saving when they made $75,000. So now that $11,250 on $150 of household income is only 7.5% of that income. And that's not enough of a percentage savings to maintain the lifestyle that $150,000 now supports. So the more people make, the more you need to save if you want to maintain or enhance your standard of living over your lifetime. And when we come back from this break here, we're going to dig into why lifestyle inflation happens and how it quietly erodes a big part of financial security. 627-7979. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS.
Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president at Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, you can look us up online at wealthwayadvisors.com. All right, tonight we're talking about keeping up with the Joneses, the cost of lifestyle inflation. And before I jump into the mechanics of lifestyle inflation, we got a caller on the line. As promised, David in Virginia Beach. Good evening. You are on Dollars and Common Sense.
Thank you very much, Zip, for taking my call. I'm just a teacher here, and unfortunately I didn't put into the 401k for the 30 years. Still there, and started a 403b. I was just wondering what you think my best avenues for a better retirement would be at this stage of my career in life.
Mm-hmm. David, which city school system are you in?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. Okay. So, well, good thing about teachers, and while their benefits package has morphed through the years, but I believe you're still part of the VRS pension system, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's a big leg up over a lot of the rest of us who don't even have the opportunity of a pension. So a pension is sort of a built-in forced savings that you might contribute to the pension plan, you might not, depending on when you were hired, but that your employer, the city of Virginia Beach, in conjunction with the state of Virginia, contributes to the state pension fund and will pay you monthly amount for the rest of your life when you ultimately do retire. And again, that's a huge benefit compared to most other people in the modern era that don't have access to a pension. So you can feel good about that. And that's part of the benefit of working for a municipality or a public education entity. Now, that's probably not going to be enough, though. A pension is typically not enough. So you have Social Security. That's also very much like a pension in that it's guaranteed in monthly income for the rest of your life. So you got that going for you as well. And then the third leg of the stool is your own savings that you will use to supplement those two income sources. We typically say that the easiest, best place for savers to people to save and invest for long term for their retirement is their company-sponsored retirement plan. In your case, that would be a 403b. Sometimes you can access the 457 plan as well. All those letters and numbers are just different regions of the tax code. All those vehicles function similar to a 401k in that you contribute some of your pay into an account in your name, and once in there, you have a menu of investments to choose from, and that and then that money, if invested properly and wisely, can grow over time. And when you do retire, then it's accessible to you to supplement the pension and Social Security that you have. So your first best step, David, is to, if you're not doing it already, contribute to that 403b plan with the city of Virginia Beach. If you are contributing to it, then you want to see if you can increase your contributions to it. And eventually, if you can, try to max out the contributions. And in a calendar year right now, for tax year 2025, you can contribute up to $23,500. And then you can even contribute more if you're 50 or above, another $7,500. And in a 403b, if you've got 15 years of service in the school system, another $3,000 on top of that. So now you're looking at almost $33,000 that you could put away on an annual basis for your future self. Now, if you can't get there, that's understandable, but now's the time to try to harness as much of that money you can and direct it into that plan. Did that help you out any?
Yes, sir. And is there anything into also opening an IRA or a Roth IRA of some sort?
Yep, that is absolutely an option as well. There are income limitations, household limitations on traditional IRA contributions and Roth IRA contributions. I won't get into all the numbers right now because then it kind of the point gets a little bit lost with all the numbers, but those are options as well. But they won't necessarily get you any more than contributing to the 403b plan. You know, the 403b, the IRA, the Roth IRA are conduits through which you get into tax-preferred investing. And then once the money gets in those accounts, then the investments that you select are key. And as long as the 403b plan, and I will say, historically, 403 investment choices have not been great. They're usually offered through insurance companies, which typically don't have great investment options, and they tend to be more expensive than average. But hey, they're good enough, put it that way, and that should not stop you. So it's really getting the money in a tax-preferred vehicle, which a 403b is, and as automatic as you can make it, because the more you force yourself to save each pay period, more you have that money taken out of your paycheck and put into the account before it even gets to your bank account, the more likely you are to continue doing it and increase it over time.
Okay, and can you explain to me how are these contributions eventually taxed?
Yes. So once you separate from service, or some cases before you separate from service, but you generally don't want to withdraw money from your company retirement plan, in your case the 403B, while you're still working, because the taxes would be much higher. But you get a tax break for the money that goes into the plan. So the contributions you put into the 403B come out what we call pre-tax. So you're not taxed on the money that you contribute to 403B. So there's a tax incentive there. You are taxed when the money comes out of the 403B plan. So that's why it's tax efficient to contribute when you're in your higher earning years, separate from service. Your income typically, naturally drops. You do have to claim a portion of Social Security usually. Your pension is taxable, but chances are you drop down into a lower tax bracket. Then you withdraw the money from the 403B. It is taxable then, but typically at a lower rate. And that's kind of how it works.
Okay. Is there anything like rolling it over into something else that would be better for taxes or not?
That doesn't really have a great benefit for later on. I'll talk about that after the break, David. Thanks for the call. We got a break for the news. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense.
Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president of Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized, ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, you can look us up online at wealthwayadvisors.com. Once there, you can request an information packet to find out what it's like to work with us, or sign up for a free quarterly newsletter at wealthwayadvisors.com. Just go to the Request a Consultation page, put your name and address in the dialog boxes there, select the appropriate drop-down menu, and we'll get that information out to you later on this week. And that's all we will use your name and address for, is just to send you the information that you request. Or if you have some nuanced questions, want to speak to a live human being, we got those too. Give us a call at the office, 456-2200. Want to remind everybody, our next live show will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday, October 28th. But if you can't catch us live every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m., get this show as a podcast. Search for Dollars and Common Sense wherever you get your podcasts. Download us, take us with you where you go, and listen at your convenience. And for those of you in social media, we have a presence on Facebook and LinkedIn. Search for Wealthway Financial Advisors, hit that like or follow button, and then once every week or two, we put up an interesting and informative financial planning post. All right, tonight, we're talking about keeping up with the Joneses, the cost of lifestyle inflation. And before I move on with that, I want to better answer David's last question about rolling over his 403B into an IRA. David, yes, you definitely can do that. We do generally almost always recommend that people do roll over their company retirement plan into their own IRA at the appropriate juncture. Usually that's when you separate from service. You get more control over the rollover IRA. You usually have more investment choices. And you can also select usually more cost-effective investment choices through an IRA than you get in many company-sponsored retirement plans. Now, that's a non-taxable event, moving from the company retirement plan rolled over properly into an IRA. So there's no additional tax benefit doing that. It just defers the tax until you then withdraw the money from the IRA, and that's when it's taxed on the way out of the IRA. So hopefully that clarified your last question there. All right, back to the cost of lifestyle inflation. Let's talk about some of the mechanics that cause it to happen. So, the data is pretty clear, shows that many high earners maintain the same or lower savings rates as their income grows. Studies from the Federal Reserve, Pew Research data confirm that median savings rates don't automatically increase with higher income, as they should. They should increase with higher income because you should have more disposable income as your income grows at your present lifestyle. Why doesn't that happen? Well, first off, there's some psychological drivers. Social comparison. People compare their lifestyle to friends, neighbors, or colleagues. So the more you make, the more you can spend, right? And there can be subtle social pressure to have a certain car or to have a certain sized house. Or have a pool in the backyard of your house. So you got to be careful about being susceptible to that. Then there's the more self-imposed status signaling. So that's people who you're not just trying to keep up with the Joneses, but you're looking to kind of show off a little bit. I got more money. I'm going to buy an expensive car. I'm going to buy a larger home. I'm going to move to a more expensive neighborhood. I'm going to get a fancier wardrobe. I'm going to buy more expensive gadgets to signal to people that, hey, I got a lot of money. We call it peacocking, right? Strutting around, showing your feathers. Well, okay, that's important to you, but just know, I know that most people who have the trappings of wealth don't necessarily have a lot of wealth. Most people that tend to have a lot of wealth are rather subdued about it. And that's a topic for a whole nother show. But status signaling, watch out for that. And then anchoring. Once your income grows and your lifestyle adjusts to the higher income, then that becomes your new normal. And you just get used to having more money and what money can do. And so maybe, you used to mow your own lawn. Now you're hiring a landscaping service. You used to wash your own car. Now you're hiring a detailing service. And all those are fine and good when you've reached a level of financial stability and have a strong financial foundation, and that'll be the subject of my next show. But while you're still accumulating and in your early years, that is not the time to have those luxuries. If you want long-term financial security, that's the time to capture the excess cash flow, maximize all your savings opportunities, make sure you're getting your company match from your employer, and growing your net worth over time. So, some other examples, I guess, on some of the things that hold people back. The housing I talked about, new cars with every raise to reward yourself. Well, I've got a promotion. I deserve a new car. I worked hard for this. Yes, you've worked hard. You should reward yourself something for that promotion. But how about a nice dinner out instead of, a BMW? Much more cost effective. A lot of times, subscriptions nowadays come into play. You get all the subscriptions, right? Netflix isn't enough. There's watching football. I was almost forced to sign up for speaking of Peacock, the Peacock network. My Notre Dame was on Peacock. It wasn't even on normal NBC. Had to sign up for a month, $10 in order to watch the game. All the streaming services cost extra, and then you might do it for just that, for that one particular show that you want to watch, but then you forget to cancel it. They add up. And then, of course, the vacations. It's not enough just to go to, say, the Outer Banks or Charlottesville. Next thing you know, you're heading down to Miami. And then from Miami, you're going to the next one's Turk and Caicos. And then after that, you're going to Aruba. And, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and more lavish and lavish. And sure, that's a part of life, and we should enjoy that. But that's when you have to decide what is most important to you long term. Immediate gratification and a lifetime of financial struggle, or do you want to get your financial house in order first, build a solid financial foundation, and then enjoy your money responsibly and guilt-free later in life? What's most important to you? So here are some of the practical hidden costs of lifestyle inflation. When you get an increase in salary over time or household income, and you just spend it on something, then what you forego is what you could have done with that money from a savings and investing standpoint. So for an example, let's say you got an influx of additional $500 a month. And if you were to invest it for the next 25 years at a very reasonable 7% annual growth rate, which is very achievable through a properly diversified, growth-oriented investment portfolio. So $500 a month for 25 years at 7%, that grows to $440,000. So if you capture that, your future self will have $440,000. If you spend it, of course, you have nothing to show for it. Hopefully you had some great memories. Those are important. But now you have to contend with a later in life self who's probably still not financially stable. Debt accumulation. Many people finance their lifestyle upgrades. They sort of stay one step ahead of the pay increase. They know one's coming. Maybe you're in federal service, that GS 8 is going to GS 9 after a certain period of time. You know what the pay increase is going to be. Well, you start spending like you're earning the money before you even get the money. So then you have to you start out in debt. Well, I'm going to get the car today and I'll just finance it. And then when I get my pay increase, that's how I'll make the car payment. Okay, well, that $50,000 car loan at 5% interest over 5 years is now going to cost you not just the amount of the car, but also another $6,500 in interest that you could have avoided if you saved the money first and paid cash for the car. Then there's the stress and insecurity of the lifestyle creep that happens over time, because high earners can still feel broke if their lifestyle exceeds the comfort zone. So if you're always striving to buy more, to have more things and stuff, it's a short-term high, right? It's like a quick rush of a drug where it feels good at the time, but boy, the hangover the next day or the next year is painful because that feeling doesn't last. It's like getting the I'm even susceptible to this. Getting a package through Amazon feels like it's like Christmas on a Tuesday, right? I'm checking the delivery status of like socks. Why? What do I care about socks? Well, I don't know, but a package has come to the house from Amazon. Ooh, and I don't have it. That's crazy, stupid. But just magnify that when it comes to a car purchase or a house purchase or extravagant clothes or vacation or furniture. It feels good at the time, but then that very quickly wears off. And then, of course, the impact on retirement planning. It's hard to get people to appreciate how valuable time is in the creation of wealth. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to make a lot of money to one day have a lot of money if you have a lot of time on your side. And we would define a lot of time as, well, 50, 60 years, So if you start out in the workforce in your early 20s and you work until your 60s or early 70s, that's about 50 years, right? You got a lot of time on your side. So the sooner you can start, no matter what the amount, the more valuable that savings is early on because of the power of compounding over the next 50 years. The longer you delay, the longer you wait, the bigger the number you have to put away when you eventually do start saving. So the earlier you can start, the better. All right, we're going to take our last break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how do you measure whether you're falling into the lifestyle inflation trap. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS.
Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president at Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized, ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, check us out online at wealthwayadvisors.com. Okay, talking about the cost of lifestyle inflation, otherwise known as keeping up with the Joneses. And where we left off, some of the measuring of your own lifestyle inflation. So here's some ways that you can start seeing if you're susceptible to this lifestyle creep. So first, if you are so inclined, and most people are not, but track your spending. Right? Track your spending versus income growth. Now, I didn't say make a budget because I know you're not going to do that. Just track what you're doing. And you can do it nowadays relatively easy with apps and technology tools like Mint, the YNAB. Why not a budget is what it stands for, or other, do an Excel spreadsheet if you're good at that type of thing. But you want to monitor your savings rate trends. Has your savings percentage increase or decrease as your income rises? Every time you get a raise at work, you should also give yourself a raise into your company retirement plan. Don't let those raises go directly to your bank account first. Get them into your company retirement plan first, at least a substantial portion of them, and then spend after you save. And then examine discretionary spending categories that can easily spiral out of control. I talked about the subscription services early with all the apps and the Netflix and the Amazon Prime, and then I'm sure there could be newspaper apps. Maybe you subscribe to several newspapers. Well, I guess it's not newspapers if you're reading online or apps, but the legacy media services, that type of thing. Watch your dining out. In America nowadays, it seems that dining out is no longer a luxury. Dining out is commonplace. Well, one generation ago, maybe a half a generation ago, that was never the case. Dining out was a celebratory experience. Nowadays, we go out on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And then, we go out to a nice place on Friday and Saturday. So if you're eating out all the time, that's not an efficient way to get your calories. Let me tell you that. Travel, I talked about that. Keep your vacations reasonable. You can do a lot of traveling economically if you're inclined to, if you like the outdoors, hiking. Damien and I were talking about that before the show. I'm going out to Charlottesville this weekend, and I'm doing just that. You know how much it costs to hike? Well, I guess maybe my pair of boots and my backpack, okay? But everything else is pretty much free other than getting there. And, my wife and I enjoy doing that type of thing. So you can have fun and you can live a full life, without having to spend a lot of money. And then watch your luxury items too, of course. I love quality items. I like things that are well built, well designed, that last a long time, and I'm willing to pay for it selectively. When I think it's something that really important and that I want it to endure. But I don't buy high-end paper towels. A paper towel is pretty much a paper towel. and I don't buy gourmet ketchup. Ketchup is pretty much ketchup, at least as far as I'm concerned. So spend your money on quality items when it matters, but don't spend up for things that are more commoditized, that type of thing. And so finally, I want to wrap things up with a few strategies to help you combat lifestyle inflation. First off, I talked about that early in the show, automatic savings. You got to get the money out of your hot little hands before it hits your bank account and you're tempted to spend it. Get it into your company retirement plans. Direct raises or bonuses straight into the 401k, an IRA, or a brokerage account. And then be more conscious about your spending. Put yourself, if you're having a hard time controlling impulse buys, put yourself on a 30-day pause rule before discretionary upgrades. So in other words, okay, I want it bad. I really do. I want the thing, but I'm going to wait 30 days. And if I still want it after 30 days, then okay, I'll buy. And you'll find that a lot of times you won't want it after 30 days. I once read somewhere where somebody put credit cards in the freezer in ice, and so they couldn't use their credit card until they had to pull it out of the freezer, wait for the ice to melt before they could use their credit card to purchase something. It doesn't really work nowadays when you can put your credit card information in your phone, but you get the idea. And then maintain core lifestyle. So keep your housing, vehicles, daily habits reasonable even as your income grows. And then finally, align your spending with your values. Prioritize experiences, education, and health over status items. That's where the real wealth is, in your health, in your education, and the experiences that you have with your family and your loved ones. Those are the things that are most valuable in life. Those are the things that will endure, and those are the things that you remember forever. Okay? I'll be back in 2 weeks with the other side of the coin and how we get to enjoy spending some of the money that we've accumulated over our lifetime. Until then, I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS. The preceding program was sponsored and paid for by Wealthway Financial